First off, what a game. What a
Yes.
game. I mean, wow. We love the Premier League, and that is some game. And these two teams serve up this type of game many times in the past.
Oh, it was hard. I mean, the atmosphere was off the charts, as we knew it was going to be, because it's always spicy, Newcastle, Liverpool, and because what's going on with the Isak situation, it was always going to be a little bit more. But it was a brilliant game. I have to say, great credit to Newcastle players that were on the pitch in the second half. They were absolutely outstanding. And they get back to 2-2, and then the crowd, oh my God, St James's Park was bouncing. It really was.
And last night, I mean, it was unbelievable. And I'm not 100% agree with Slot. Yes, they didn't play well. Yes, 10 against 11, Newcastle were very impressive. And even at 2-2, they wanted to take the ball back to win the game. But I think the risky thing that he did there, Slot at the end, when he put Rio and Harvin Elliott on, two small kids at Newcastle as well, as Slot was saying. It was not a normal Premier League game. This was a top football game.
This was a Premier League classic, make no mistake about it. It was sensationally good. There were stories everywhere. You know, Anthony Gordon doing what he did was just utterly ridiculous. The game then seemed all done and dusted start of the second half when Liverpool went 2-0 up. But I tell you what, people say that Newcastle had 10 men. They didn't. They had 50,000 because those fans absolutely clawed the team way back into the game.
Takeaways still. So we've watched Liverpool twice now. First two Premier League games, they've been 2-0 up and they've conceded to get back to 2-2. Now, both times they've come back and won. So that will still be a concern. Is there a casualness about their defending when they're in control of things? 2-0 up, are they casual? Are they strong enough? Kirk, as we talked about, Danny, that being not a huge fullback.
Yeah.
You know, the direct ball over the top for the second goal for Willisula. They switched off a little bit. That would be a concern for the Liverpool manager. But Newcastle United deserves so much credit. I mean, to be 10 men, to be 2-0 down, Eddie Howe changes system a little bit. He plays a 2 up front, 3 in midfield, makes the changes. They somehow find a way to put pressure on Liverpool. Long balls, direct balls, long throw-ins, set pieces, are so many questions of them. It was a remarkable comeback. When we saw those 11 minutes, I think we both thought, that's a long time for Newcastle. Can they keep it going to try and force the extra goal? Should they have just taken a breath and said, whoa, we're back here? I tend to agree with what you said. Like, no, just go for it. Yeah. It's just, we did both think that there might be one more chance of Liverpool. Rio Ngumoha, this 16-year-old kid that was at a brilliant pre-season for Liverpool, scored a ton of goals. He looked $1 million, comes on to get the winning goal. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant stuff.
There were stories everywhere. You know, Anthony Gordon doing what he did was just utterly ridiculous. The game then seemed all done and dusted start of the second half when Liverpool went 2-0 up. But I tell you what, people say that Newcastle had 10 men. They didn't. They had 50,000 because those fans absolutely clawed the team way back into the game. And they will feel gutted that they didn't get a point from the game. And in fact, in many ways, they could have possibly won it. They were on top. Liverpool were hanging on. And then a 16-year-old boy comes on and does that. The dummy from Szoboszlai was fantastic. Salah will get the assist, which means assist stats are just meaningless. But what a finish from the kid. Fantastic.
Two teams full of character for very, very different reasons. The way that Newcastle came back when they were down to 10 men, went for it. Got the better of Liverpool to a certain extent as the game went along. You know, second time that Liverpool have given up a 2-goal lead in 2 games. But then the character of Liverpool then to come back, and then you've got a player like Ngumoha who just comes on, and it was really interesting to watch the end. Like all his teammates saying, "Go on, go and see the fans," and then you know his manager Arne Slot obviously giving him the opportunity. He just said, "You know, what a moment this is for you."
Liverpool have had 3 competitive games so far, if you consider the Community Shield, which they lost on penalties, where they did not play well. The Bournemouth game and this game. And I think at the moment, you know, the league table won't lie, it's 6 points, but there's more questions than answers now. And they were dominated for long periods in the first half. We saw that Anthony Gordon header before he gets sent off. And what saved Liverpool was the fact that Newcastle lightweight in the forward area. There's no Callum Wilson, obviously. There's no Alexander-Arnold, who's been the big story. And at half-time, we sat down with a cup of tea and said, well, this second half is going to be boring.
Yes.
Because the Liverpool goal, which was brilliant, and fair play to the youngster, I'd love to see that. The Liverpool goal, which was brilliant the way they passed it, was what Stevie was shouting for them to do for the whole second half, was make Newcastle chase the ball and tire themselves out with one man less. They did not do that. And Newcastle, for their credit, with 10 men, were absolutely brilliant. Obviously, a body blow for them at the end. Anthony Gordon can bow his head. It was a bad challenge. It was a reckless challenge. It was a needless challenge. That put them behind the 8 ball. But fair play to Newcastle for their guts, their endeavour, and the way they played. But I think from Liverpool's perspective, the things we saw in the Community Shield defensively are the things we saw in the Bournemouth game, are the things we saw in this game. So I think from that perspective, there's a lot of work for Arne Slot still to do.
Liverpool were really poor, though. Liverpool, you would have, I know it's very, very early, and I know they've got new players, but defensively, they are all over the place. Kirkes had another really poor game. Salah didn't look his normal self. They couldn't get Wirtz into the game. They look. I know they got great mentality and they've won the game, and that is a huge positive for them. But there are also plenty of negatives, how they were dominated by 10 men Newcastle in the second half, and the way they were beaten for Bruno's goal. Kirkes was far too weak at that far post. They've got a lot to work on, Liverpool, to get back, but the good thing is they've played 2 and won 2 without playing well.
And Liverpool saved their best bit of football, their best move to the 100th minute. I mean, talk about getting out of jail, talk about getting out of trouble and rewriting a new game. You know, if they would have finished 2-2, you would have thought, you know, how on earth have Liverpool got away with a draw? And then they go and get 3 points out of it. No wonder Virgil kept on saying, we move on, because the more you focus on it, the more errors, the more questions you've got. And it was an incredibly strange performance, but a magnificent result. Very strange. I felt sorry for Newcastle. I really did. Everything went against Newcastle tonight, and then they concede in injury time like that.
Well, because they stopped playing, you know, and actually on the field of play, particularly Van Dijk and Mo Salah, you know, the experienced guys, Gravenberg in the middle, they should have been on each other and play. Basically, what I was screaming at during the second half was they should be playing 2-touch football. Get it out your feet and roll it. Get it out your feet and roll it. Get it out your feet. You do that against 10 men. Number one, they won't be able to get near you. Number two, you'll kill them. The legs will go. Instead of that, everybody was having 3 and 4 touches. It was negative. Kirkes, I don't think he played a ball forward all game. He absolutely looks derived of confidence. Everything he does looks like a struggle. He got done for fun by Alanga in the first half about 3 times. Didn't get close to him. And then, of course, he's the one for me that really started this whole second half. Because at 2-0, I said to you, surely this is done. But no. But that's the main point. Yes, Newcastle, you have to give them credit.
Right.
Boy, did they keep going, fighting. But Liverpool, and this is not by chance, as Craig said. This is 3 in the trot. But somehow, they've got 9 goals in 3 games, and they haven't played well yet.
I think what we've seen tonight is possibly one of the worst performances from a winning team and one of the best performances from a losing team. Liverpool won't care right now, of course. They'll be absolutely ecstatic. But Eddie Howe's men and his team tonight were absolutely outstanding.
It seemed like it was game over at 2-0, didn't it, Jay?
It did, but that crowd, the intensity they played with, I mean, I actually fear what the score might have been if it was 11-11. You know, to put in that performance with 10 men.
What's your hunch?
I think Newcastle would have won the game. I think they were far better than Liverpool in every aspect. I agree with that, Thierry.
The second half of the season was not anything like the first half of the season. They fell off the pace. They went out of the Champions League. They went out of the FA Cup. Yeah, he made a lot of changes when they played down at Plymouth. But they sort of spluttered to the title. They won the title, but they sort of rumbled their way there. They've had this perceived great transfer summer, and on the face of it, it looks like it, but it just feels, albeit with the 2 victories, it just feels that the players that are coming in are not quite gelling yet with the players that are already there, and it's a bit disjointed. It's defensively, it doesn't look like a very good structure, and also, you know what? You've taken an extra midfielder out. I know McAllister wasn't around, but you've taken an extra midfielder out, essentially, and you've bought the so-called one of the best, you know, attacking number 10s in European football, in Florian Wirtz, which he is. So you're a man down in terms of a natural midfielder, but can we honestly say so far, what we've seen from Florian Wirtz that's made you get off your seat. We haven't actually seen that either. So, you know, they've scored goals. He hasn't played particularly well. Maybe that will come. But defensively, and again, the Kirkes Van Dijk scenario on that left-hand side, that was the one at Wembley that got torn apart by Crystal Palace. And again, that area looked pretty weak tonight.
Obviously, it was a finish of a 28-year-old in his peak, in his prime, who had been around for years. You would think that. And he just took it with such aplomb, such ease. And it was a great finish. And
It was a wonderful finish. He's obviously got a lot of talent. Maka sees him a lot, or has seen him a lot at the academy. He's a very direct player, got great feet. You know, he is exciting.
The composure. A lot of people in that situation might have tried to blast it, but the way he just placed it and curled it into the corner was absolutely fantastic.
It was a terrific finish from the youngster. So composed, and obviously gets the 3 points. But it's something, as Stevie said, you expect from an experienced player.
Right.
And that could easily have been a shank or something that went miles over the bar. So fair play to the young man.
Do you know the biggest thing, or the most impressive thing for me is that he's got so long in terms of knowing what's going on.
Right.
It may just be a second, but that's a long time when you know the ball's coming. We all could see the dummy was coming. He knows it's coming. And to have so long and be so inexperienced and to hold your composure and actually hit it perfectly in terms of the strike and hit it perfectly into the right place because the goalkeeper's coming across the other way, so he's never going to be able to get it. It just made it look so easy. And so the composure for somebody of 16 years of age.
That was the real deal today. He'll always look back on that and think the feeling of scoring the winning goal, it wasn't just his first goal ever. It was so important. I know we're early on in the season. You don't want to be losing ground. You don't want to be losing ground. Liverpool have got Arsenal next. All of a sudden, if they get beat there and they're 5 points behind, that's a lot of catching up. I know it's a long season. You don't want to be doing that. That is such an important goal for Liverpool.
16 years old to come on at the last and then to do something like that. I think he got a couple of goals in pre-season. It was exciting everyone as well. We had another exciting talent coming through that. I mean, they've been talking about this young man for quite a while.